During my gang stalking experience, there was a point where I just couldn't take it anymore, where I was being cut off by people. I was saying one word and then someone would speak over me with another, and it would create a lot of confusion. Not only confusion, but it would also create a lot of anger because the fact that my train of thought was interrupted made it so that my mind would interrupt my own train of thought. I got to a point where I thought, how the hell can I stop this from happening? And I got creative. I began to visualize the word that I was speaking. And whenever I was interrupted, I suspended the written word in my mind's eye. That way, when someone would interrupt me, I could retrieve the word where I was interrupted, and then I would be able to continue my train of thought. It took me about 3 days to get proficient at this practice. And I was doing this in a hurry because I felt like I was gonna go insane. So what I did was that I began reading, and as soon as I read a word, I began visualizing the entire word as an image. So I literally visualized every single word in the alphabet. And as I was doing this, my imagination became incredibly active. So, and by active, I mean that whenever I would complete a word, the visualization of the word would turn into almost like an emblem, like a metal emblem that would like spin, and it would like be put aside. So making visualization part of your speech literally made it impossible for people to confuse me, because a word that you visualize written, when you hold the image of the letter of the word written in your mind's eye, you know how it's pronounced, you know how it's supposed to be heard. Therefore, your perceptions cannot be messed with. And I'm gonna go a little bit into perception of words, just a little bit for you to understand what I mean. So let's say that I'm thinking of the word money. And as I think of money, let's say, so as I, give me 1 second. I need a little bit to formulate a way of explaining to you a perception. Oh, so there we go. So let's say that I am counting money, right? And that I'm giving change to a customer. So if I'm counting 1, 2, 3, and when I'm counting 3, so in my mind I'm holding the thought 3. Someone can yell 4 and then bang to distract me. So whenever I have the thought 3, it's gonna result in me thinking it's a 4. This might not make sense to you, but that is what manipulation is. That is what manipulation does. And that is that my perception. So in that moment, because I thought of the number 3 and I heard 4, whenever I think of 3, I'm gonna think it's a 4. So my perception of 3 was changed. This is effective if you're very tired. And it can be done if someone is able to distract you enough. Like if you're busy counting 1, 2, 3, and at the moment that you think the 3, like you were saying 3, and someone yells 4, and then distracts you at that thought, the perceptual change is gonna take place. And notice that I am just thinking the thought of 3. The thought of 3 is the concept of 3 is what I held. But my mind, I'm taking the input from the outside world that a 3 is a 4, because that's what I'm hearing. So that change, that is how gang stalking manipulates your perceptions. So you can try this at home. So the slam is to kind of just cut the thought. So the loud bang is a distraction. The distraction is necessary because it needs to cut off your train of thought. So that officially will change your perception of 1, 2, 3, 4. And you can also do this via visualization. If you wanna do something a little bit different, you can say 3 as you visualize a 4 in your head. So you can do this. So you can do 1 and then you visualize a 1. 1, 2, and you visualize a 2. And then you say 3, and then your mind's eye will automatically pull up the image of a 4, because you already changed the concept of 3 via imagining it. So that is the visualization aspect of perception. So this is something that you don't have to prepare anything. So I'm gonna show you the exercise with visualization. So say 1, and as you say 1, visualize the number 1 in your head. And then say 2, and as you visualize the number 2, you visualize a number 2 as you say 2. And then when you say 3, you actively visualize a number 4. And stop there. Distract yourself from a little bit. So I'm gonna repeat it so you understand this. So every time you say a number, you visualize the number that corresponds to the word. However, when you reach number 3, instead of visualizing a 3, you visualize a 4. And if, depending on how, you can either or not use a bang. So with me, I don't need to use a bang because I know how to do this. But a bang usually kind of brings you up from your imaginative eye, from your imagination to the present time, because your imagination is another reality. We're going to talk about that in another video. So you think 1, and then you imagine the 1. 2, visualize a 2. 3, and visualize a 4. And now just relax and then do that again. But don't just let your mind's eye visualize the numbers by itself. You do not actively try to change that. So you think 1, 2, 3, and you will notice that your mind will pull up a 4. 1, 2, 3. So that is because you changed your subconscious representation of when you move your mouth and say 3, the image that is invoking. So that is the imaginary representation of what a 3 is. Now, when you say 3, I cannot help it but keep pulling in my mind a 4. And when you say 4 and then you say 3, you have to change it back. So when you think 3, you imagine a 3 again. 1, 2, 3, 3, and then 4, and then you visualize the 4. So that is a perceptual change. So these changes of perception can be easily done. So with me, I'm not sure how hard it is for anyone to change your perceptions, but my perceptions have been bent up, turned inside out in every single way, shape, and form that I can easily change my perceptions. Easy. So considering that the perception of a okay, so when you think of 3 and someone yells 4, it's flipping around the thought and the word. So especially if someone says it really loud and then the bang, that kind of sets it in. By the way, that is manipulation of the person. You can have someone agree to things by flipping the yes and no. We're gonna go on, and this channel is gonna have so much about manipulation that it's gonna be insane. I'm gonna tell you everything there is to know about manipulation. And you're gonna freaking love it because I love the concept of manipulation. I'm not a manipulative person, but I don't know, the whole concept of manipulation has always fascinated me. I think it's the lazy way of getting what you want. And knowing about manipulation is gonna help you understand when you might be confused and why. Anyways, so when you have the thought 3 and someone yells 4, what that is doing is that whenever you think 4, you are gonna have the thought 3. If you don't believe me, try it. But instead of visualizing it, listen to it, and you're gonna see that it's gonna change. And whenever someone says 3, you're gonna think 4. As simple as that. That is manipulation of the perceptions of people. So, as I was saying, now going back to the crux of the video, is that whenever you're holding the image of the concept or of the word in your mind's eye when you're speaking, regardless of what anyone says around you or yells in your ear or talks or tries to confuse you, the fact that you are holding the visual representation of the word that you want to say, and when someone interrupts you, you have the ability of holding the image in your mind's eye of the last word that you said before you were interrupted, your perceptions become unfuckwithable. Your perceptions become anti-manipulative. If you have the sensation, or if you just happen to be in the unfortunate situation where you are surrounded by a lot of people that are trying to manipulate you in ways that affect you in a negative manner, this is what you should do. You should practice speaking, and as you speak or as you listen to people speak, visualize the words that they are saying and then visualize the words as you say them. This takes a lot of practice. However, if you commit to it in about a week of continuous work and continuous practice, you can get incredibly good at it. And you will be able to have casual conversations with people. And regardless of what goes around you, you will be able to feel, oh wait, give me 1 second. This is a little bit tough to explain. You will be able to visualize the entire word. You will be able to visualize the entire word as soon as it is a thought. And you will have the word loaded in your mind's eye. You will have the word loaded in your mind's eye before you're done saying it. Now, what this does is that it's going to allow you to know just by how your mouth moves, to know without even, okay, this is really hard to explain, but this is one of the exercises that people who are professional or who are incredibly proficient at lip reading, where you are looking at someone speak, and as they speak, you are building the word that the person is saying without hearing it. You are only visualizing the word. And therefore, just by looking at the person speak and talk, you are going to be able to build the skill to know exactly what the person is saying without the need to actually listen, because you are putting together the actual visual representation of the word, and you are connecting the movements of the mouth, the movements of the throat, the movements of the cheek. You are building a new repertoire of visual cues, and you are tying the visual cues to a visual representation of the word. With practice, you will literally only need to look at the person, and as you look at them speak, your mind will be able to create the speech as a visual, as the other person is talking to you or to whoever. And that way, you're not gonna need to eavesdrop on anyone. You will literally just have to glance at the person's movements of the face, of the intonation of the throat, and the movement of the chest to know when they're actually exhaling. And that is gonna be enough information for you to actually know exactly what the other person is saying. And that in itself is an incredibly useful skill to have, but it makes it so that you are unmanipulatable. I'm sorry. So that it is impossible to manipulate you by confusing you with words and with what you're listening. With time, you're going to be able to visualize what you're saying, and someone's going to be able to speak to you. And as you are having your own trains of thoughts visualized in your mind's eye, you are going to be able, by the sound of what someone else is telling you, to have also a visual representation of what someone else is talking to you. But that is a skill. And let me tell you, it is incredibly useful if you are surrounded by people, if there's a lot of people that try to speak to you at the same time. If you're new to the channel, welcome. This is the Gang Stalking Playbook, and my name is Efren Rodriguez. And in this channel, I talk to you about all my experiences in gang stalking, all the type of manipulations, and the mind are what I am in. Well, an exercise are what I am is those topics are the topics that I am incredibly passionate about, because they have really been the center of my life for the 37 years that I have been alive. Narcissism, manipulation, the mind, exercise, and techniques to making myself a person impossible to manipulate. Now, I feel like I have already defeated the biggest boss in the aspect of narcissism and manipulation, and that is gang stalking. So I was in a state where I knew for a fact that I was being followed by a lot of people. And call it paranoia, whatever it is, gang stalking is real. And it is a reality that will always be the truth for the target. And I have had to learn how to work my mind and use my mind in ways that make me impossible to manipulate. And I have learned everything about perception. I have learned everything that there is to know to manipulate someone. I can literally manipulate myself to feel pain caused by nothing. I can manipulate myself to hear voices and stop them immediately. There are ways to use the mind where you can command your mind to do things that appear to be impossible. I can literally command my mind to make me hallucinate. Why would anyone want to hallucinate when I would want to do that because I want to exercise these skills. I can, well, I will tell you other ways to communicate with your mind in other videos, but the crux of of what I'm telling you is that I know how to use my mind in ways that are useful and that people can attribute to someone becoming schizophrenic or insane or not that, but having used your mind in ways that have been impossible to or that have been impossible to work, to use your mind. Like, give me 1 second, let me rephrase that. I have learned via my experiences in gang stalking, manipulation, and the changing of my perceptions that there are a lot of ways, that a lot of untapped potential that we can use our mind. And it is because of that that I am asking you, well, if you have any interest in any of the topics that I'm covering, gang stalking, manipulation, narcissism, and the mind itself, that I ask you to please subscribe and please give me a like or leave a comment. Also, I will teach you ways to use your mind in a lot of ways that you maybe didn't know you could do, such as changing the meaning of something, such as changing the concept of 3 into a 4. There are a lot of uses of these perceptual changes. For example, whenever you see a white van, have the remind yourself, oh, I need to stand up right and I need to squeeze my abs. And that way you are receiving commands that you want to receive by your reality. So if you are interested in any of these techniques to help you become the best version of yourself, please give me a like and a follow. And that is the crux of this video, that there is a skill, well, that being able to visualize the word that you are about to speak, to visualize it as you speak it and becoming really proficient at it, will help you stay focused and maintain a train of thought that is unbreakable, regardless of how hard anyone is trying to break your concentration. Thank you so much for watching, and I really hope you enjoy this content. Again, my name is Efren, and this is the Gang Stalking Playbook. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope you have a good evening. Bye.